Hey everybody, happy what is it, May 11th? Happy Thursday. God, it's crazy to think it's May already and we're getting into schools being out, kids coming home from college and the summer days, upon us. It's crazy to think how fast this time's going by. But hopefully, this finds everybody doing well, healthy, safe, your loved ones. And again, can't say thank you enough for taking the time to join us today for our May Flagstar Flex series. We invited our guest speaker back. I think he did it for us this is May, so he would have done it in March for us. Friend of Flagstar, and we're really excited to have him back. And again, before we go bring him on stage, I want to kind of give you his bio. I'm really excited as a follow-up to his session, kind of taking it, that next step further, right? And we'll talk about that a little bit when he comes on. But we're excited to have him again. Joe Wilson, CEO of Social Coach. It's a social media management platform for mortgage and real estate professionals and companies. As I mentioned before, Joe's got over 20 years of experience, both in a couple different areas: sales, marketing, product management. He's obviously worked for several companies before he went out on his own to start Social Coach. He held positions at Simple Nexus and Ellie Mae as an example. And Housing Wire has recognized him as one of the rising stars in our industry. And he's also through NMP, he's been quote unquote the most connected individual in the mortgage industry, or one of the most connected. So we're glad to have him. I was glad he could do it. Joe, thanks for coming back, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John. Happy to be here, and great to be with you all out there in the internet world. So we're excited to be here today.
Yeah, and I think we're good. Joe and I were just talking before ahead of time, and landscapers at my neighbor's house are gone, so you won't hear the lawnmowers or blowers. I think some contractors and construction work around Joe's house, they halted that for this session. So I think we're pretty good. I mean, barring, knock on wood, anything not planned. So that's pretty cool.
That's always have a contingency plan, right? You never know what can happen. We got it all ready to go.
That's right. Well, and look, like I mentioned, right, Joe, we had you on in March.
Yep.
I know Josh Pitts well. We've had him on a couple times, and those sessions, I think, again, to the audience, right? This isn't about anything other than trying to bring value to you, right? Like what can we do from a content perspective to help you in your day in and day out, course of doing business and generating referrals and at the end of the day, doing more business. And social is one of those things, right? You got to gravitate to it. You got to embrace it. And Joe came on in March and did just a great job in regards to kind of social, Instagram, gave us some really good information about, where are your realtors, right? Like, where are the buyers? Where are the people that you're going to do loans for or get referrals from? And then Joe and I got talking afterwards because he got a lot of feedback, right? We got a lot of feedback on the session. Joe had many people from our session reach out to him directly. And I know he's been engaged with them. And it was just timely because I was like, you know what, Joe, the one thing we didn't do is we didn't really take it to that next step with, okay, we've talked about all the principles, but let's show people how easy it is to do a video. So with that being said, Joe said, yeah, hell, I'm in. So that's what we're going to do today, right? We're going to expand on what Joe talked about before.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing. I think we'll cue it up just real briefly with a couple of stats again on to why is this important for you? And if you don't know yet, we'll kind of just share a few things here for you. But guys, we're all about social media here, helping you as loan officers and account executives and anybody else kind of in this industry where your job is to sell your product to your sphere of influence and using your referral partners to help gain new business. Social media is the way that more and more lenders and sales reps are looking to grow their business from. And particularly as a former loan officer who kind of was in the business when the social media was not really a thing. It was for college kids, but definitely not realtors or anybody over the age of 26. But now that those statistics have changed, and I think we shared maybe some of these on the last one, but I just want to really just hammer on 3 of these, and you can read them all here. And we'll, I think, John, we can maybe share out these slides afterwards. But 3 things that kind of took really big interest for me as thinking myself as a loan officer here, is your job, especially in today's world, is really to connect with your referral partners, and chief of those are those real estate agents in your area. And according to National Association of Realtors, 95% of all realtors are on social media in some form or fashion. They might be lurking, but they're on there. So you gotta, that's the way that you can really start to leverage those relationships and find and build new ones. And that's where they're all hanging out. They're not in the offices anymore. You guys probably all know that already. And if they're in the office, they're probably not doing any business. So but where they are, average American spends over 2.5 hours a day on social media. And I would say realtors spend probably an hour, at least more than that, on their phones and on social. But then, you thinking about, okay, well, realtors are great, but I want direct consumers as well. I want to be able to get in front of them before they get to the realtor. And social media is still the place for that. 84% of home buyers are using social media to search for homes. They're actually out there, and that social content about home buying tips, educational content on how to get ready to buy a home, that's all super relevant and timely. And if you can show up and show up well on social, you can really attract and build those relationships with potential home buyers as well as those realtors. And then, of course, the purpose of that, why we're all here today, is talk about video and creating. Specifically, we're going to talk about Instagram Reels today and how to build a strong video foundation. And we're going to take you through the steps on how to actually build an Instagram Reel for you today. It's super easy. You're going to love it. But the reason why we're doing this is because video content is so important. If you look at that last bolded stat on there, 48% higher views as it relates to video content versus your static images or text posts. So video content, and I would say this number probably is even greater now with the proliferation of AI and AI generated content. This is something that I don't think we even have any stats on yet because it's so new and changing so fast. But because of AI, it's made generating content and putting content out there so much more easy, and the barrier of entry is so much lower for so many people that now you need to have that video content to really stand out from all the noise that's out there.
Well, and I think, Joe, before you go forward too, like for everybody watching, right, and listening, or if you're watching this as a playback and you didn't see it live, look, like Joe said, you can read all those bullet points, right, and the statistics don't lie, right? The numbers are they tell the truth. But to me, like a lot of people, when we've done these sessions, right, even Joe, yours was like, okay, what platform should I be on? What is it? Facebook? Is it Twitter? Is it Instagram? I don't like the way I look on video. I don't do this. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And to me, that last one screams at off the page, right?
Yeah.
Just and to your point, like maybe AI, because it's too new, we can't really it's not new, but new in the realm of what we're talking about. Maybe we don't have the stats around it, but you're looking at 48% more views on social if you're using a video. That was the whole point of why I wanted Joe to come back on, right?
Yeah.
To really show you exactly how easy this is. And you are, believe it or not, you're starting to see more people that you compete with, other, loan officers in your space. They're gravitating to it. And by the way, some of the stuff I've seen, it's nothing fancy at all, right?
No.
There's a guy I follow in Chicago. He put me on his list because I know him, and he literally just does like a literal video of himself in a room talking on his social channel. He picks a topic, right? And we're going to talk about this, right? He picks a topic about mortgage, and he tries to debunk the myth around why that is something that the normal or homeowner looking to purchase a home doesn't understand. He just kind of debunks it, and it's only a minute long, 2 minutes long, and he's
probably less than a minute.
Yeah.
That's just it. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, guys. You can literally do this from your home office, from your kitchen table. Honestly, I've seen some really successful creators out there just sitting in their backyard. And the yard doesn't even have to be great, because you really just show yourself in that 9x16 rectangle in the vertical format, and just make it your own. And let's start talking about that. Like, how do what's the, before we even dive into like what's that step-by-step process of the mechanics of building that reel, the first thing you need to do, and John, I think you mentioned this really well, is like, what's your goal? What do you want to talk about? Right. And I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people struggle with is, what type of content should I be creating and what should I say? And there's some ways around that. And I think, but I think as if you're on this call and you're thinking about what should I be talking about, well, you could be talking about a lot of things. But I would say, let's put, what into maybe 3 different columns, and start talking about things that really well. One of those should be mortgages. And then talk, just like you mentioned, John, let's talk about different things that, what are different myths, or what are different frequently asked questions that you asked all the time, right? What's the difference between a soft pull and an actual credit report? What's going on with these LLPAs? There's a rescinding of this from the FHFA today, right? So like, there's lots of different things you can be talking about on a regular basis. That's about your expertise, and makes you look like you are the absolute best in the world about mortgages. And you're doing great. And just let everyone know all the knowledge that you have and put it out there.
Yeah, Joe, to your point, the last one this kid did, it was literally the myth of thinking you have to put 5 or 10% down.
It's basic concepts. If you were to sit down, John, and I'm not saying you, John, but like anybody, and just start writing a list of all the things that into like bite-sized chunks like that, that list is probably hundreds and hundreds of lines long, right? Yep. I mean, there's so much to our business that you can come up with those things. And if you need help, lean on other people, or go find other creators that are out there that are doing it, like this guy that you're talking about. And take those ideas and make them your own, right? There's this really great book called Steal Like an Artist. And basically what that means is, like, go out there, see what other creators are doing. There's nothing that's really new or unique about our industry. The concepts are all the same, but the way that you say it, the way that you put your spin on it, and it coming from you, is the important thing. And don't copy them word for word. Put it in your own words, in your own voice. But take those ideas and make them your own. And then, thinking about other concepts are other things about your local community, or about your family, or your hobbies, or your passions. Don't only just do mortgage content, because that's boring and people will stop paying attention to you, right? As exciting as we all think our industry is, not everybody else thinks that, right? But things that, think about other types of content that you can create, that you can talk about. Maybe you took your dog to the dog park the other day, and you want to or maybe you're there right now, and you want to record a little video of how great your local dog park is. And you could talk about that, or talk about a different trail where you love to go mountain biking on, or the new taco joint that just opened up that you want to share what you're eating today, and how everybody in your area can go there and share in those things as well. And what that does is it makes you not just look like a real human being, which is what people want, right? They want to be able to work with somebody that they can connect with, but it gives you also a connection point with those realtors in your area that, hey, look, I'm not just some faceless loan officer sitting behind a desk in some tall building downtown. I live and work in this community right alongside you, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, and I'm going to help you get business in this specific area. I think that's the point of these concepts, is like, let's just think about how can we, like, who do we want to target and what do we want to talk about, right? And then let's prepare it. Let's write a script. And the thing is we, John, you mentioned, they're really short videos that you've been watching. And that's the trick, is if you can get these done in 30, 45 seconds, that's a win. That's a major win. I, like many people, have a very short attention span when it comes to social media. And if you're not getting me in the first or second of that video with a nice clean hook, like why I should be listening to this, then you're gonna lose your audience, and you're not gonna get any engagement. So what is a good hook, John? I mean, I'd be curious on your perspective on this. What has like pulled you in on videos that you can maybe share with other people?
Yeah, look, well, anytime there's a, I'm a huge dog guy, right? So anytime there's a dog in a video, it usually catches my attention, right? So yeah. To your point, a hook, right? Like, there's been plenty of WebExes I've been on that my dog barges in, gets up on my chair on her front paws, and I'll start petting her. And you start thinking about like, well, if I saw a video with a guy, like that would be something I'd be interested in. But I think one of the things you hit on, Joe, that always catches me is the connection, what I'll say, to the community, right? So it's not just the video where somebody comes on board and right away they're just dumping, right? Or trying to sell or trying to promote themselves. I mean, it's crazy to think this. There's been 28 years in this industry, in this space now. And one of the things I've always said, you touched on, which is the originator watching this video, our business partners who originate loans, they're members of the community, right?
Yeah.
That, to me, that's the ones I pay attention to, right? The ones, they're knowledgeable and sure they get to something, but I like the ones where it's not just all about that. There's more of a community tied to it. I've seen there's a guy around here locally, he's calling himself like the Virginia food expert or something like that. And literally the guy goes around and all he does is, it's crazy, but he orders food. He'll take a picture of the sandwich. He'll tag where he's at and he'll give a review and he'll do a promotion of it. Right. I've probably been to about 15 places the guy's recommended now just to try it out. Yeah. And I never knew they existed. Wow. Right. So it's stuff like that that I pay attention to.
Yeah. And, you know, and thinking about that and like, you know, how do you like kind of curate that video or that post is you start off by saying something that is that hook, right? And you say something like, hey, this is the best taco in Orange County, California, right? And then you start talking about, I drove all the way up to Anaheim today to Tacos Los Cholos and I ate this Papa Loca and it was like the best thing ever, right? And I'm showing them the food that I'm eating, right? I'm not saying, hey, you know, Joe Wilson here, I drove up to Anaheim to try out this new taco joint. That's not the way to do it, right? You start off with that like kind of really impactful thing that, you know, is true, but might be a little bit of stretch of or exaggeration of what it is. You don't want to lie and you don't want to say things, but let's talk about mortgage, right? Another thing is, you talked about the guy who was saying, you know, you can get into a home with as low as, 3.5% or 5% down. And the way I would maybe reframe that is, hey, you don't need 20% down to buy a house. You can get into a new home with as little as 3.5%, which might be in our market as little as, $3,000.
Right.
And, or, did you know you only need $3,000 to buy a home? Like that, like something like that. That's the hook that pulls people in to get them to want to learn more. Right. And then you quickly explain what you want to talk about, but be clear, be concise. That's like, and start with the hook. That's what you have to be thinking about that. And if you're droning on for too long, you're going to lose everybody. And have some excitement, have some, have a smile on your face. Don't be, scared or anything like that. You can be scared and you'll get better over time. So definitely record something, but over time, you'll want to improve that. Any of your thoughts there before I move on?
No, I mean, look, I think to me, again, I'll go back to what you said. I think where this stands out, and you'll probably talk about this, it's also the consistency of it, right? If you think you're going to do a couple of these videos and all of a sudden your referral network's going to blow up and you're going to stuck it, it's not going to happen, right? You need to be consistent with it. And I know Joe will talk about this a little bit later, but to me, like showing that your community, right? What better way to get a real estate agent into your referral network than for them to look at you from a mortgage perspective and as a person, somebody that's in the local community where they're doing business and you're a subject matter expert on a portion of their transaction, right? Which is the mortgage, which is probably like, let's face it, it's one of the biggest parts of the transaction, right? At the end of the day, getting them from we're going to sign a contract or we're going to move in. There's that whole mortgage process in the middle. I think those are things to me that are key.
I love it. You're absolutely right. All right, cool. So next thing here is just record. And, a lot of times I feel like it's easy to just, pre-record your video and we'll show you how to do that. But just basically, all you have to do is grab your phone, open up your camera, put it on tripod, or even, just prop it up on your computer screen or on a cup or whatever. Doesn't have to be fancy, but just, put yourself in that frame and record, start talking, and it doesn't have to be exactly word for word with what you wrote out or whatever. And it's not gonna be perfect. And don't worry about all the ums or starts or stops. We can always edit those things out. It's super easy to do. And that's the last thing is just, we're going to talk about how to edit it and post it right now. So actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start sharing my phone.
Let's do it.
We're going to walk through how exactly to do this.
Yeah, guys, don't forget too, while Joe's doing this, any questions you have, you can post them down below. They'll come up and we'll certainly address them as we go.
Yeah. Speaking of videos, here's this guy right here, the real Matt Brady, loan officer here. And I think in where is this? California? Yeah, it looks like it. I don't know where 803 area code is, but these are some great videos. Look at this. This guy's crushing it, and he's nothing fancy whatsoever. Right. And that's awesome. That was a great example here. All right. So let's say you pre-recorded a video and you want to now post this. What you want to do is you want to click this little plus button here at the bottom, or you can swipe right. Either way, it's going to get to the same thing. So I just swiped right. And at the bottom, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a Instagram reel today. So you can do this where you start a post, a story, a reel, or go live. But we're going to do a reel. And because we pre-recorded this, all I have to do then is click this little button in the bottom left-hand corner. And this is going to have the videos that we have on our phones. This is my camera roll here. So I'm going to just add this video that I recorded just before we. Yep. Easy enough. All you have to do is put that in there. And then what you do is you'll click add. And I'm going to turn off the sound so you don't have it going on all the time. But now we've got our video in here. So what I'm going to do actually next is I'm going to edit the clips, because you can tell I pushed that start button before and at the very end. So what I want to do is I want to simply, I'm going to pause it here. I click pause, but I'm going to drag these corners here to try to get just that first little part off. So I'm going to tap on this. It's going to bring up a little yellow thing, and I'm just going to bring it right here. And there's where I started talking. So I'm going to drag that, and on the opposite end.
Yeah, and it's easy. And if you're not paying attention that he's dragging, you can see up top on the video where he's dragging it to in the video, right?
Super easy. So done. All right, cool. So I've got that going. You can always, let's say maybe you had like a bunch of pauses in the middle. What you can do, and I'll actually show you that really quick. I'm going to do this. I'm going to just say like, here's maybe where I paused, and then I can come here and I can add another clip, and I can just add the same thing. And then I'm going to add it here. So now I have it actually twice. Come on, add. Why isn't it adding? Maybe not. That's weird. This is the problem with Instagram, guys, is sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Well, another video here. Show you how it works. No, they're not letting me add more video. Okay, let's go back here. Edit clip. Add clips. Okay, why is it doing this? Maybe because I had it already? No. All right. Well, forget that part. You probably have to restart Instagram and get it going. And guys, this is technology, and we're doing this live. This is always the fun part about doing it live. But so I'm just going to come back here and do the end here, just like that. Cool. We're good there. So now next, what I want to do is I want to add some background music. And this is really important for two reasons. One, it just kind of adds a fun element. Like, so if you're just maybe a little dry, or just add some kind of fun, upbeat music in the background, I feel like that's a really great idea. The other side of it too, and you'll see here when I click that little music icon at the top, let me show you again. We'll click this music icon.
Yep.
And now I'm in this like area to look at music, right? And the one thing that you want to do, so we talked about it kind of makes it seem a little bit better that you have some fun background music. But the other piece of this is you can see there's some of these that have these little upward arrows. And what that means is that that song or that music is actually trending. And you can see here, this has 92,000 reels on it. This one has 1.3 million reels that have used this music. Huh. And when you have these trending audios, it's actually teaching Instagram that, hey, I want to be part of this trend, and it's going to show more people these videos, because what they found is that people like this music, and so they will likely like your video more.
Look, hey gang, here's what I'll tell you. That little tidbit in of itself, like if I were doing this on my own and Joe hadn't told me that, I wouldn't pick any of these songs just from looking at them, right? But now understanding how it works and how they're trending and how likely that is to pop up in somebody's feed because they've already viewed that or listened to that, song before and something, that's interesting.
Yep. And you could preview it here just by, tapping on the little play icon and hear what it sounds like. And actually that is pretty good here, right? So we'll do this. We'll add our music in. Now, one thing you need to consider when you do this is we need to tap back here on the music icon, because what that did is it actually cut out your voice for the song. So we need to come here and go to controls. And now I need to add back in my camera audio. And I want to reduce the sound of the music because that was going to be too loud.
Yeah.
And I'd say put that around like 10 to 15 is usually pretty good, but you can play around with it. I don't know if you can hear or not. I mean, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So now what you can do as well is a lot of times people have a hard time listening to individuals. And so you might want to add in captions as well. Now, Instagram has an automated caption feature. It's not the best, but it does work here. So I can just tap on that caption and it actually adds it in here. And so I can move it around to where I want it here. So you've got some captions that are working along here. They have different versions of this too. So if I want to do it like this or here, it all works. I think this is my favorite one.
Dude, I'm going to be honest with you. This is way easier than I thought it was going to be.
It's so easy, John. It's like, I mean, this is base level stuff, right? So now I just click next. And, I'm going to write my caption. My first video on creating videos, right? Cool. One thing to note is the caption is really, really important these days. Instagram in the last 6 to 8 months has just adjusted the way that they are looking at how to promote videos. And it's almost like SEO. So if you remember SEO back in like the early 2000s, it was all about how many blogs can you put on your website that has all the keywords that people might be searching on Google, right? Now it's they've used natural language processing to read these captions and see what that video is going to be about, so it can suggest content to people who might be interested in creating videos or mortgages, right? So the caption is almost just as important as the hashtags are, if not maybe even more important. But hashtags still have a lot of relevancy here. And I'll tell you really the best way to use hashtags is to find, again, thinking about myself as a loan officer or maybe an AE at a wholesale company, trying to get people who are my local area. Use hashtags that are specific to your town that you live in or you work in, and find the ones that your real estate agents are going to use, like San Clemente real estate. Okay. And then use like hashtag mortgage or mortgage tips or mortgage rates. These are really good ones to use, and come up with a few of them that you like, and then add them in there on every single one. I like to keep a little notepad on my desktop or my phone that has these hashtags I like to use regularly. And then there's also software like Social Coach that can actually already just import those for you and save them. So pretty easy to do though here by yourself if you're not using a software like that. The last thing I want to make sure that we talk about here is tagging people. If you are at that Mexican restaurant or you're doing a shared video with a real estate agent, tag them in it. and it's super simple. You can just say tag. But now, word to the wise, don't just go tagging every realtor in all your videos. They're going to hate that and not want to work with you. But if it's relevant to them or relevant to their business, go ahead and tag them, or tag your company, right? So here, I'm going to just tag my company, Social Coach. And then you can even invite them as a collaborator. And if you have their permission, invite them as a collaborator, because what it will do is, if you invite them as a collaborator, it will actually go into their feed as well as yours. Tagging them will show it to their audience, but if you collaborate on a post with somebody, it will actually put them in your specific feed. So I'm going to add my this is my demo account we're on today, but I'm going to add my actual account as a collaborator, and I'm going to click share. And that's literally it, guys. I mean, we created a reel in just about 5 minutes. So it's super easy to do. It really shouldn't take you like a ton of time to do. But let me actually pop this back up real quick too. But John, any thoughts on that before we kind of talk about going from good to great?
No, well, I would say a couple things, right? And look, we'll continue to talk as we're kind of rounding this out. But I mean, that was pretty simple and pretty straightforward, right? And everything, it's amazing what they have at your fingertips on these phones, right? And my daughter's going to college. She'll be a senior next year, and she's going for like photography, interior design. And the idea of what she does on her phone and her app with like video shoots and photo shoots that she's done right now, when I see her, she walks me through stuff. I learn something all the time. But that was pretty straightforward and pretty easy, right? I think some good tips in there about the music. I think there were some good tips in there about caption and hashtagging. And it was funny when you were talking about collaborating, there was one thing that just stood out in my mind that I watch on a social feed. It's a real estate agent in the town next to us. It's called Haymarket. We're in Virginia. Mm-hmm. And she's got her tag. She has herself branded as like the Haymarket. I'll just paraphrase it, right? The Haymarket real estate agent. Yeah. But her videos that she creates, she's always got, it's a collaboration between her and some business partner, some business owner in the community. Yep. A lot of times they're sitting at like that person's deli and they have sandwiches in front of them and they're just bantering back and forth for a minute. Or I watched one the other day. It was her and two other real estate agents, and they were literally like at the subdivision walking in front of the clubhouse, just doing like a walking video, right?
It's that easy, right?
Easy, right? So what I would say to everybody is like, and we'll go through this, right? Get started. It's easy right off the bat just to think of yourself, like Joe was talking about, do the script, do it, and we got some more stuff to talk about. But I'd also start thinking about like, how can you get other people in your own community engaged in your efforts? And the more you do that, I think proof has shown that people are successful in doing it.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the best thing you can do is tag and work with others, right? And like that realtor, the Haymarket realtor, I mean, think about all the different people that you work with that make this transaction, a mortgage actually work. Talk to an appraiser. I mean, I know it's scary to talk to appraisers, but not about business, but like, tips for appraise, they can talk about ways to make sure your home is in tip top shape before the appraiser comes out, or things that appraisers always look for. That would be really interesting content. Title and escrow or legal. What to expect at a closing. What do you have to read every document at the closing, right? Like you can come up with like really fun things that they could talk about. Handyman, inspectors, talk to the town water. Like there's like any number of people that are part of that whole process or home ownership journey. Get them on a video and talk to them about it and make them give some tips.
That's right.
And then, here's the thing too, is do it selflessly and altruistically to help them grow their business. And the funny fact is, as you do that, your business will grow, because as you're helping them grow their business, you're tagged in their content, they're tagged in your content. So both your followers will see that it's coming from you and that you're the expert and you're bringing other people in along the way. Right.
Yep.
But if you do it selfishly, like, oh, I'm Joe, the loan officer, and here's my appraiser, but like, push them out of the way, like make it more about yourself. That's not going to work. People, that just looks awful, and no one's going to really like that. But highlight other people, highlight their business, help them grow, and you'll grow along with it. But yeah, I think that's, if I were a practicing loan officer today, I would be doing that all day long. I would make that as a major part of my marketing strategy. So yeah, talking about, how to kind of level up your videos. We kind of did video creation 101, right? That's like the basics. You saw how easy it is to do it. You can do it. It shouldn't take you more than, 15, 20 minutes total to create that video from concept to completion. We talked about tagging others. We talked about long captions and the reason for that, as well as hashtags and that hashtag strategy. Professional editing is what's going to take your videos to that next level. The creators out there, the loan officers and realtors that are doing a really, really good job, that have like tens of thousands of followers, or even just thousands of followers, or even sometimes hundreds, is they take advantage of others to help them level up that video editing. By adding dynamic bouncing captions with B-roll or B-reel or B-rolls, and emojis, and adding the music for them, and having that all posted out there. There's a lot of services out there that are, range in price, and what they provide for you. But definitely take a look at that. It can be a really great strategy. Before we were on this call, we were talking about, just some home services that we both get, from gardening or to housekeeping or whatever. There's a reason why you outsource some of these things to make your life better. And I think professional editing is one of them that would be really good. There's services like even Social Coach that help loan officers provide the scripts and do all the editing and posting for you. So that's like something that I think is a really great option for many loan officers. But even above that, one of the biggest things that you need to do to make your videos successful is engage. Engage with anybody who likes or comments on your video. Make sure you're commenting back, asking questions, promoting other people, going on to other individuals, like realtors and anybody in your community, going on to their videos or their posts and commenting on them. The more that you're out there and actually social on social media, the more people are going to view your content and consume it and share it with others as well.
So Joe, let me ask you a question, because when you shared this with me, these last two, engage and promote, are the two that I focused on, right?
Yeah.
So is it fair to say, as people engage, step outside their comfort zone, right, and start doing this type of stuff, that the biggest mistake they make is not these last two? Meaning, yeah. I've done everything you just said, right? I came up with the content, I scripted it, I recorded it, I edited it, and I posted it. And I feel like the lion's share of people think I'm done right there, right? Like, yeah. I did it. Okay, now I'll create the one for next week and I'll post again. I think where this fails in a lot of instances is those last two, where people are looking at it, they're viewing it, they're making comments. Are you actually engaging with them and responding? Are you promoting other things that those people are doing? Yep. Fair to say that's where a lot of this falls down, is I do everything, but then I don't do these two.
Absolutely. I mean, this, other than being consistent on social with whatever the content, wherever you're at, I think consistency is the number one indicator of success on, a good, strong posting strategy and always coming up with new content. But right there, like, 1A or, 1.0 or 1.1 is engaging with others. And that's the best thing that you can do. And if you're not doing that, you're missing the point of social media, and you're missing a major opportunity for success. That's really where you're going to get people that want to work with you, want to learn more with you, is by asking questions or engaging with other people's content. Think about it. Think about this. How awesome does it feel when someone actually takes the time to comment on your post or reshare it? It feels freaking good, man. That's awesome, right? So think about how that feels, and then do that to other people. Allow those, engage with your realtor's content that they have out there and say, ask them a question, come up with a compliment, or maybe some commonality that you have, and share that with them on their posts. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to be like, who is this guy? Who is this Joe Wilson character? And they're going to tap on your profile and they want to learn more about you. And that's a natural way to develop strong relationships. That's really what this is about. That's what all this is about. It's all about relationships. Our business in the mortgage industry is all about strong relationships, and social media is the way that you can have and find, create, and build strong relationships with realtors and other referral sources and potential home buyers, and do it in a way that is so scalable, because you can reach so many more people now versus having to go and spend 9 hours on the golf course with 3 people.
Right.
So it's a scalable way to get yourself to have more relationships and more meaningful relationships. And that's why, kind of going back to the beginning of this conversation is, this shouldn't all just be mortgage specific content. Show your entire personality so that you have more connection points with those that are in your network.
Yeah, look, even that one you pulled up where it had the guy that I think maybe it was in California, right? That first one you pulled up.
Yeah.
You just do some of his videos real quick. You can tell it's not all mortgage, right? He had a picture of him and his kid. There was activities they were at, events they were at. So I think that's one of the big misconceptions too. It doesn't always have to be a info dump about mortgage, right? You're actually better off just ingraining yourself in the community. That's what this is about, right? And the fact that you do loans is a byproduct of building the relationships, because if you become an active member of that community and or other people's, what I call social community, then they start thinking of you. Well, I know John's a mortgage guy, right? Like, he's not out here promoting it, but he has promoted what he does for a living. But look what he's doing in the community. Look what he's doing to help, my social media feed and my community and driving business to me. And they think and of course, look, you're going to want to put things out there about mortgage, but you have to look at it holistically versus just a little slice of what you do day in and day out.
100%. I couldn't have said it better than myself. Like that's you get it. That's totally what it is. But yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like the whole summary of what I wanted to talk about today, John. Any other thoughts or?
No, there were a couple questions that came through, but I didn't interject them because you were going to go over them, and you did.
Yeah.
One of the questions came up, and just because I'm nowhere near close to an expert on this topic whatsoever, I wanted to get your opinion on it because I think the answer is what I think it is. But is it easier to edit prior to uploading to Reel or after in your experience?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how much you're going to edit. I think that if you have your video in one take, it's gonna be really easy to just do it in, edit it in Instagram. If you're wanting to add those more dynamic captions, use like a product like CapCut, or do, a lot of different things in there, it might be easier to do it on your desktop and then upload it onto Instagram. But I've been able to do some pretty cool things on Instagram with editing, and it just takes some time. And the only big problem that I have are just the thumbs. Sometimes it's hard to like get that very specific portion edited on the phone. But if you're gonna do light editing, add in the basic captions like we did, or even just like little basic captions that you can do on Instagram, you can probably just do it there. I think that's for 90% of the use cases, I would just say do it on Instagram.
Yep. And gang, Joe mentioned this earlier, right? We'll share the slides, and he has actually on his deck, he has a breakdown of the screenshots when he was showing you live on his phone. So we'll make sure your AEs have that. Anybody that wants it, we'll get it out to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, here's what I would say. And Joe, I asked you a couple questions kind of in summary, and then we'll get everybody on their way. But look, it's as simple as, what Joe just showed you, minus the professional editing and using, companies and sources that are out there for that. Everything else he just showed you is absolutely free. Doesn't cost you a dime, right? So you want to talk about a marketing strategy and a marketing plan, and you have like in this market where we're all, kind of going through it together, and we're seeing a downturn in volume. revenues being challenged, personal revenues being challenged, right? For you as a loan officer, you might not have the dollars you had to go out and put this elaborate plan together and do that. But you know what you have? Everybody's got one of these. And
It's
those
completely
apps are
free.
and they're free. And Joe just showed you in 15 minutes how you can put a reel together on Instagram, and you can do that every single week and be consistent with it. Or to Joe's point, time, efficiency, money, right? Maybe it makes more sense for you to look like a company like Social Coach, who will provide content and scripts and post for you and do all those things you just talked about, right? So it's really where are you at in your journey, right? And what makes sense for you? Where are you spending your time and where are you being most efficient? So think through all that, guys. It's pretty straightforward. It's easy. I mean, that was as easy as a demo as you're probably going to get today. But Joe, what would you think, like, just in kind of summary, kind of wrapping it all up, what would be like 2-3 things? Because I always think people spend before you do that, let me ask you this question. Do you think like the killer of success in this is I do the video, I watch it, that sucked, delete it, do it again, delete it, do it again, delete it, do it again, and you're like ready, aim, ready, aim, ready, aim, but you never actually upload the video? I always think the first take's the best one because that's when you're the most real, right? Like, who cares if you say something wrong? That's being a human being.
Yeah, I mean, yes, 100%. The biggest thing, the biggest impediment to your success on here is just not pushing send. Just create something. Your first 5 to 10 videos or posts are going to be awful, and like just accept that it's just not going to be great, but that's okay. And you know what? People are going to be like, oh, that's awesome that you're actually posting something. And you might get a hater, and you know what? That's fine too, because they're probably not posting anything themselves. And over time, you'll just kind of get the feel of it, and it will get better and better and better. I promise you that. Like, you go back, I had my my Instagram kind of thing up there earlier, but like go back and scroll back like a year or two and just look at some of my videos. It's literally embarrassing, guys. It's awful, but you know what? I just did it, and you get better all the time. And the cool thing is, that's the blessing and the curse of social media, is that the cycle, the news cycle of your video being shown is so condensed that like if people are going to forget about you in 24 hours anyway. So it's not permanent. It's going to be gone. It's fine. Just put it out there and make the most of your day.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to end it right there. And look, here's what I'll tell you, gang. You heard me and Joe talk about it. I do think if you're going to engage in this, you need to understand it's a long-term strategy, not a short-term strategy, right? Like I said earlier, and Joe kind of commented on it. If you think you're going to put 4 or 5 videos out there and all of a sudden it's just going to take off, you're fooling yourself, right? Like, this needs to be a consistent approach. I don't care if it's every week, every 2 weeks, whatever fits you, right? Like in your workflow, your time management. But I will tell you this, if you go back when you see the deck, the stats that he popped out, more and more is getting done social wise on Instagram.
It's not going the other way either. It's only going to increase.
That's right. It's not reversing. Yeah. Like, think about this, right? The days when we were loan officers, because I started off in this industry in '94 as a retail loan officer, right? For about a year and a half. And then I switched and went in. I had an opportunity to go in wholesale, and I became an account executive. Nice. But I remember in '94, '95, you get all dressed up. You go out to the real estate office, because they actually were in the real estate offices back then. Yeah. And you had to come up with all these different ways to get past the quote unquote gatekeeper at the front desk, right? Who was literally paid to not let you go back and talk to anybody. Yeah. You have an easy way past what any gatekeeper would be based off of everything that you can do that you already have in your fingertips, right? And that's what Joe started with us in March. It's clearly what we've expanded on here today. So, hey, I know we put up Joe's info on where you can find him. It's in his deck. By all stretch of the imagination, reach out to Joe. I know, like I said last time, I know he had like 10 or 15 of our business partners that reached out to him. So Joe's a great guy. He's in it for the long run. He loves what he does. He's passionate about this industry, and he's passionate about helping you guys. So by all means, check Joe out, reach out to him. He's, This is just a small version of the wealth of knowledge he has in this space. So, Joe, man, hey, I appreciate it. Thanks so much for doing this again.
No, thanks for having us on, John. And thanks everyone for, if you've stayed on this long, almost an hour in, like, I am very impressed. If you're on right now, send me a message.
Yeah,
that
right.
You made it this far, and I would love, I'll send you something nice. Cause like, that's incredible.
There you go. Well, cool, Joe. Hey, I appreciate it, brother.
Thanks, man. All right. And thanks to Flagstar for having us and being such an awesome company to put the time and the effort into actually wanting to grow people's business and help them get better. So
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Well, hey guys, great session. Thanks for the time. I know some of you probably aren't watching this live, or maybe you've watched it over multiple times where you've watched it, paused, and moved forward. But I did want to let you know our next session in June. We try to do these the second Thursday of every month. In June, it's going to be specifically on June 15th. As you can see right there, Barry Habib's going to come on. He will be our guest speaker that day. And he's got a great session. He's going to have just kind of with finger on the pulse of the market, where we're at now, where we're headed, what his thoughts are, and how he thinks the rest of the year going into 2024 is going to unfold. So we're really excited to have him. Looking forward to that session. And look, as always, can't say thank you enough for your partnership. We know you have choices. We certainly try to be the best that we can. And we value that partnership, and we'll try to earn your business every day. So again, hey, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Have a great day.